this one. Daddy, this one goes on this one.
Hey YouTube, this is Charlie again. Today, I'm going to be making brisket, smoked beef brisket on the Weber Summit charcoal. It should be fun. I'll show you what I'm using and then we'll get started. Alright, so here's the items we're using. Obviously we start off with our brisket. It's a prime beef brisket. Weighs in at 14.79 pounds before trimming. And it should probably drop a couple pounds at least on the trimming. Also, for our wood, we have 2 chunks of cherry wood. And we're doing 3 or 4 chunks of the post oak. Hadn't really decided yet, maybe only 3, but anyway, we have that. For the brisket rub, I'm going to be trying this today. I've never used this before as it's unopened, but the Oakridge Barbecue Black Ops Brisket Rub should be interesting, and if you read some of the ingredients, it does contain Brazilian coffee, so that should be an interesting rub for the brisket. Also going to inject the brisket. Never used this before either. This is the Butcher's Barbecue Prime Brisket Injection. And I'm going to try to follow the instructions as best I can. It says set a minimum of 4 hours before cooking, so I am going to inject it and then let it sit in the fridge for a while. We'll see how that goes. Going to be using this Fogo Super Premium Lump Charcoal as the base out in the Weber Summit. But that's it. Alright, here we go. So we have the brisket. I've taken it out of its wrapping, rinsed it off, and patted it dry with a towel, you know, just to kind of, I don't know, get it cleaned off. And now we're going to start the process of trimming this thing. It is a long process, and so maybe we can kind of speed it up. Alright, here we are after trimming. Trimmed up, I guess you could say, quite a bit of the brisket. I did trim off this mountain of trimmings and fat that this weighed in at 3.2 pounds. I've trimmed off this brisket. It started off at 14.97, you know, 15 pounds really, trimming off 3 pounds. So we're down under 12 pounds on our brisket now. Alright, here's our brisket here. I'm going to inject it. I'm going to put it in this big roasting pan here, just so if stuff flies out, it'll catch it. And I can also just wrap it in foil and end up putting it in the fridge while it's after I inject it. But, so I've got my injection here that I mixed up. That was the Butcher's Barbecue injection. Have that in here. Pull some in. So it's quite a bit going in at once. Alright. So now, and I'm no expert at injecting, I guess we just kind of go in at various positions and just kind of inject. Whoa, shooting everywhere. I do not inject a lot of briskets, but I'll give it a good shot here. Just kind of make some sort of pattern where I kind of went in there, injected it in there, just kind of inject it that way. That way. Kind of injecting with the grain here. And my nice grid pattern went nowhere. Just kind of injected it everywhere. Alright, so that's it for the injection. Could have put some foil over this and pop it in the fridge and let it sit there for, the package says at least 4 hours, so I'm going to follow the instructions. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start the grill here with our Fogo Super Premium Lump, which is just a giant bag here. Little overflow there. Just a massive chunks of charcoal. And that looks like a whole log. Let's try to set this. Kind of get them down. So with the Weber Summit charcoal here, we have got a light here we can shine on it. We have to keep our fire below this. This is where our deflector plate's going to sit, and so got to try to work it in there a bit. These big Fogo chunks. And some smaller pieces. Definitely has the large pieces. Some smaller pieces. And we're going to get this fire going. I'm going to try to cook around 230 degrees today. Alright, so let's get our fire going here. Get one of our lighter cubes right in the center. There's the grill. Get it going. Some of this lump charcoal. Probably we'll just go with 1 cube. I think that's going to be enough to get us moving. And this is a long cook, but I think we'll have plenty of charcoal in here to get us through the cook. Throw a few more pieces in. And we'll have to leave some space for our wood chunks as well, but that's it. We'll let it get up to temp. We'll let this run maybe 10 minutes and then kind of close it down and stabilize the temperature. Alright, now we're going to put the rub on. We've put some of this Oakridge barbecue Black Ops brisket rub into a shaker here. We're going to apply the rub. So we want to shake it. We're actually, we had pulled it out from, or I had pulled it out from the, where I had injected it, and it still had a lot of the injection over it, so I'm using that as the binder, not having to add any sort of binder to it at all. But now just kind of coating it liberally here. It's a big piece of meat, can handle quite a bit of rub. Not going to cake it on or anything, but we're going to get it pretty liberal here. Just going to turn it to the side and see if we can get these edges with a little rub on them. Here. Alright, that's looking good for this side here. Let's flip it over, get the back side as well. Big brisket. Alright, man, this is kind of messy. And I'll just let this rub sit here, not too long, just while the grill gets up to temp. And then we'll pop it on. Let's see. I'm not blocking the view there. That looks good. Alright, I think we're good to go. Alright, so our grill is coming up to temp here. And yeah, that Fogo has a good odor to it. It smells good. Put some cherry in here. Try to find some places that it'll squeeze. We got a little post oak in there. Some more post oak as the sparks are flying everywhere. That's a chunk of cherry. Some post oak and some more post oak in there. Try to smoke for maybe 4 to 6 hours, somewhere around that range. Put my deflector plate on. It has seen better days, but this is my deflector plate. As it's having to inch it down in there. Not even sitting all the way down. But we will get our brisket on. Oh, almost forgot my grip pans. Probably slide them in. Put the drip pans in there. And we're almost ready to get the brisket on. So I'm going fat cap down. And actually, I'm going to reverse this way. That's the way we got it right there. And I think we're good. I'm going to put the temperature guide on there and try to hit 230, and we're going to go for at least 6 hours until we look at it and wrap it. Alright, we're about 5.5 hours in. I'm going to check it out. We're going to take it off and wrap it now. Alright, so I'm going to wrap it up in some butcher paper and put it back on the grill. Let's get in here. It's here. Up some. Alright, we're back out in the grill. We're going to put it back on. And let it keep cooking. Thanks. Alright, just kind of give an update. We are 11 hours and 20 minutes in. And, you know, last night I guess I put it on maybe 11:30 at night. Went to sleep. And it was rocking pretty good at about 2:30 to 2:40. I kind of closed it just a touch right before I went to bed. And of course I wake up at 4:30 and I was down to like 185 on the temperature. But I wrapped it at that point, put it back in, and opened the vent just a touch. Went back to sleep, woke up again this morning maybe around 8. And I was at about 260, so I closed the vent just a touch, and I've been pretty steady now, about 230, you know, ever since then. But you know, it's just the way it goes, and just keep going here. Internal temp of the brisket right now is at 186, so we're getting closer. I'm going to try to pull it off around 190. I mean 195 to 200, somewhere around there. Maybe maybe right at 200 is the goal. But just kind of give an update. All right, we've been 15 hours and 46 minutes in. I've just probed it in a few spots. Up in here, we're at about 198. It's really soft. Probed it on the flat, and it's not as soft, but I wanted to pick it up and just feel. I mean, we're really close. I don't want to overcook it as well. I don't know. I find that almost all these briskets are a little different. I mean, down here it is super soft. Up here, I feel like it's done. We're going to go ahead and pull it and let it rest for probably a couple of hours. But that's it. Pull it off and get it off without too much grease coming out. Alright, so here's the brisket. I just recorded cutting into it, but I didn't have the sound on. So coming back in now, I mean, the slices, I don't see a huge smoke ring on the brisket. Pull test, I mean, fairly tender, I guess. It has a good flavor, but we don't see much of a smoke ring, but that's kind of it on the point side. The flat side. The point side is extremely tender. Like I said, when I knew the temperature on the flat was a little lower than the point. We were 195, 198 up here. Down here we're in the 185. Probably could have stood to go a little longer down here, but we would have run this meat up here. But anyway, that's the end of the cook. Hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, here comes the heat. Oh, Sunday idiot.
Oh, there goes that recording. All right, so what we have here today, we do have our beef brisket. This is a prime beef brisket, and get it at Costco. And